This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. After experiencing trauma, I went to therapy, and my therapist guided me through a difficult time in my life. They helped me understand what was happening and provided me with tools to cope and find my own strength and resilience. Their experience and compassion were invaluable and enabled me to rebuild my life and move forward. I strongly believe in the power of therapy to help people through difficult times. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. First, you go to their site. You can use my link, betterhelp.com/resilience. You answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/resilience or choose podcast, then notes on resilience during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Hello, welcome to Notes on Resilience. I'm your host, Manya Chilinsky, and today is a special episode. It's the end of the year, so a time when many of us reflect on how far we've come. For me, this episode is extra special. It is the second to last episode in 2 years of doing this podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to pause and look back at the lessons I've learned over the past 2 years. When I started Notes on Resilience, my goal was to talk to really smart people, to learn from the experts, share their wisdom with listeners, and create a brave space for anyone to engage with these difficult but necessary conversations. And as it happens when you put anything meaningful out into the world, I've gained so much more than I expected. From the incredible guests, from our listeners and the questions that you've shared with me, and my own reflections along the way. So today I'm going to be sharing some of those themes and insights that have shaped the journey of this podcast over the past 2 years. And it's not just about surviving challenges, but thriving and how we can support each other doing that. And leadership, empathy, resilience, compassion, words you've heard me say 100 times. One of the first lessons, and that has been reinforced over and over again, has to do with resilience. Isn't just about bouncing back from adversity, it's about growing through it. Our ability to face difficulties and transform them into something that strengthens us, both as individuals and as leaders, that's where the real growth happens. In some episodes, I've heard stories of people who've faced almost unimaginable adversity, survivors of trauma, individuals going through personal loss, career transitions. And what has stood out to me, the most resilient people aren't necessarily the ones who endure hardship without breaking. They're the ones who find meaning in their struggles and allow their pain to guide them toward a deeper understanding, and who use that experience to shape a better future for themselves and for others. Another theme has been the importance of compassion in leadership. This is something I've always believed in, but hearing from so many leaders, mental health professionals, trauma experts, and other experts over the past 2 years has really reinforced this to me. Compassion isn't just a nice thing to have in leadership. It's really essential for creating cultures that are truly supportive and sustainable. We've heard time and time again that when leaders prioritize the well-being of their teams, when they lead with empathy and authenticity, teams are more engaged, they're more resilient, and in the long run, they are more successful. And compassionate leadership doesn't just benefit employees. It benefits the leaders too. Leaders who show vulnerability and create environments where people feel safe to be human experience greater connection, trust, loyalty from their teams. And that creates a ripple effect that spreads into the workplace and the organization and beyond, shaping our communities, our relationships, and even entire industries. Another critical insight has been around trauma, both personal and collective, and the need for safe spaces for healing. From the conversations I've had, it's clear that almost all of us are walking around with invisible wounds. Whether it's the trauma of a life-altering event or other kinds of stressors in our work lives or personal lives, we carry these experiences with us. One thing that has stood out to me is how many organizations, despite their best intentions, don't always know how to support individuals who are navigating trauma or other difficult life experiences. And the burden often falls on the individual to heal on their own. And you know me, I'm always talking about how important personal responsibility is. And it is. I'm responsible for my own emotions. But the truth is that healing can't happen in isolation. It isn't just me. It happens in spaces, in our communities, in our organizations. And it happens when people feel seen, heard, and supported. And leaders have a responsibility to create environments where that kind of healing is possible. And I want to reflect on the theme of transition and change. It's something that's come up frequently in the podcast, both personal growth and organizational growth. And navigating change is never easy. We don't like change. Even when it's something good, it can be difficult to make changes. But I've learned through talking to my incredible guests that change is a lot more manageable. Whether it's a career transition, a personal loss, it doesn't have to be something that we are afraid of. Change is difficult, but it is an opportunity for growth and can be an opportunity for reinvention. So when we have the right tools and the right mindset and we have our community to support us, these things can happen. And I've heard so many powerful stories of people who have embraced change after facing deep losses or unexpected difficulties and have come out the other side stronger and more aligned with their values and purpose. A theme that's close to my heart is mental health and well-being. In the early days of this podcast, I'd hoped to address mental health in a way that wasn't just about recognizing challenges, but about taking action. And I've definitely learned that this is an ongoing process, a daily practice of self-compassion, awareness, and intentionality. Mental health issues are not something that can be solved by a program or a quick fix. It's an ongoing conversation, whether that's with ourselves or those who love and support us. And while we have made some strides in breaking the stigma around mental health issues in the workplace and in organizations and in leadership, there's still much more work to be done. I've heard from guests who've emphasized the importance of self-care and the importance of looking out for each other. Leaders have to look out for their own mental health and support the mental well-being of their teams and be advocates for creating a culture where mental health is treated as equally important as physical health. And that's a lot that we're putting on leaders. I know that. As we approach the end of the year, I'm filled with gratitude for everyone who's been part of Notes on Resilience. Guests, listeners, supporters, my family and friends. These past 2 years have been a journey of growth for me. And I hope through these conversations that we have created a community where we all feel a little less alone, a little more understood, and a little more empowered to face whatever comes next. I'm excited to continue this work of building resilient, compassionate leadership and organizations. And I look forward to the stories and insights that are still to come. Thanks for being part of this journey with me. And until next time, stay resilient, stay compassionate, and keep building that future that you want to see. Thank you for listening. I'm Manya Chilinsky. I help organizations analyze their culture, focusing on building environments where well-being and resilience can thrive. Through this process, we identify areas for growth, develop strategies, and create the necessary changes to build healthier, more supportive organizations. If you're ready to make a change, I'd love to connect. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or your listening platform of choice. It really helps others find us. And if you want to continue the conversation, connect with me on LinkedIn or visit my website, www.moniachilinsky.com. Thank you for being part of this journey with me.